So relatively often I find myself in the middle of Melbourne in the dead of the night. Most places are closed, and I don't even necessarily want to go in somewhere and have to spend money or whatever, but I do just want a nice chill spot somewhere off of a main road that I can just kind of loiter in. I just need spots that are good for loitering. And there are two spots that I have been using recently that I'm going to share with you. So we're coming up to the first spot right now. Alright, so this is Guildford Lane, and yeah, this place is totally filled up with just like a bunch of plants. This place is, yeah, it's totally filled up with all these plants, and this alleyway is part of this, like, I don't know what you call it, like a program that the council is doing, where pretty much the residents of a few alleyways around the city are, and they're allowed and encouraged to bring in plants, like they're bringing their own plants and take care of them. So yeah, all of these plants that are around this laneway belong to the residents that are living here, and yeah, it's their responsibility to care for them and everything. And I mean, I think that's pretty cool. It's a good way to add a bit of green space to the middle of the city, which it otherwise doesn't really have a lot of. And yeah, this isn't like one of those graffiti alleyways where it's, you're allowed to come in and do graffiti. But there is a lot of stickers and tagging and, all kinds of things like that to look at. So that's always fun. Does anyone know who these lesbians are? I've seen this image in a few like alleyways and stuff around Melbourne. If anyone knows what the story of these women is, let me know. I am seriously curious. So I've been living in Melbourne for coming up on 3 years at this point, and I spend a fair amount of time in the middle of the city, but only very recently did I end up finding this alleyway. And the story of that is, well, okay, bit of background information. Everybody who knows me knows that I don't buy cigarettes, or they're too fucking expensive. So, what I like to do is I will find cigarettes on the ground that look like they have been recently discarded, and, I'll take those home and harvest the tobacco inside. And if you're thinking, oh wow, isn't that really disgusting and unhygienic? Man, shut up. You have no idea how expensive tobacco is in this country. So, anyways, hey, that's one of my stickers. Anyways, so I got a message from my friend saying that she had left 2 cigarettes somewhere in this alley for me to find. So obviously I dropped everything and I came down and I found this alleyway, and I did in fact find those cigarettes, which was pretty cool. And yeah, and that's the first time that I saw this alleyway, and I thought that it was really nice. So since then I've come back here a few times just to hang out and take it all in. And yeah, this place is mostly residential, I think, but there's a few, restaurants and cafes, but yeah, everything closes, once it gets late, so there's not that much traffic coming through here when it's late, so you pretty much got the whole place to yourself. So I think it's a very good spot for hanging around and loitering. I would rate the loiterability of this place to be pretty high. And it's kind of, because the residents are, they're coming out here and taking care of the place a lot. It's just, it's a little bit nicer, right? Like, there are some cool alleys, like, the AC/DC lane that we looked at a couple of videos ago. Very cool alleyway, but, there's a noticeable piss smell. I think, yeah, this one, it's just, it just seems a little bit nicer. So, I would say that this is a pretty good 2 a.m. hangout spot as far as those go. Now, as nice as this spot is, I think it is lacking a couple things that don't make it the perfect loitering spot. So I'm going to show you another place that, you know, doesn't have everything that this place has, but it also has some things that this place doesn't have. So you can decide what one you want to hang out in. Alright, let's go. Moved just a couple blocks away from Guildford Lane, and we are now just turning on to Goldsboro Lane. This runs through Burke and Little Burke Street, and in this kind of like shopping area that it's in the middle of is Goldsboro Village. And I'm sure you're thinking, this looks pretty sterile and boring. Yeah, it might be, but it has a few key features that I think make it a pretty loiterable spot. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so obviously this place isn't exactly brimming with culture, and it looks pretty sterile, but I don't know if it's gonna show up, but there is like a glass roof covering this entire space, so if it's raining, you know, that's good, you're not gonna get wet. And there is actual seating that you can sit on. You know, as nice as Guildford Lane is, it's kind of, if you want to hang out for an extended period of time, you're gonna have to kind of squat on the ground or something. You know, not ideal. But above all of that, right, the most important thing is not the seating, it's what's underneath it. Do you see that? That's a power outlet. I know it looks like it's covered, but you can just lift it up and it works. And there is another power outlet underneath that chair as well. Now, I get you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal about that? It's just a power outlet. You have no idea how difficult it can be to actually find somewhere to plug your shit in Melbourne, like, late. And you might be thinking, again, we'll just go to a McDonald's or something. No, at least all of the ones in the city, and there's the other outlet under there, if you can see it. I'm sure you can see it. But yeah, so most places that I've checked, like McDonald's and, you know, other places like Hungry Jack's and so on, at least in the middle of the city, they like either the power outlets just don't work, or they've, you know, covered them up, or they've removed them. I don't know when that change happened. It might have been during COVID. You know, they didn't want people hanging around and charging their stuff, and they just never put the power outlets back, or they never turned them back on, or I don't know. But then, you know, it's also kind of, if you do go into a McDonald's or something, it's not guaranteed that the power outlets will be free. It's kind of everybody's first thought, right, is to charge their stuff somewhere like that. But this place is kind of, yeah, everything in here is closed once it's late. I have never actually even been here during the daytime. I have no idea what this place looks like when everything's open. Probably, you know, all of these restaurants will put out tables and chairs over there or something. No idea what this place looks like when everything's open. But yeah, there's really, nothing is really open, so not many people pass through this place. Not that many people seem to know that there's some power outlets here that are always accessible. So it's a pretty safe bet that if you need somewhere at 2 in the morning to charge your shit, it's going to be free down here. There's probably going to be no one hanging around here. Alright, but seriously though, this space is like a secret spot of mine. It's not so important anymore now that I live kind of closer to the middle of the city. But, you know, when I had to commute into the city, you know, way from the outer suburbs, and I would, you know, work like DoorDash on my bike, you know, sometimes I needed to stop and charge up the bike for a little bit, and it was so hard to find anywhere that I could do that. So when I found this place and I noticed that there were power outlets, you know, it was awesome. It's like I had found this secret spot. So if you come here, please don't act like a fool. Don't do anything that's going to make like the staff around here, you know, turn off the power outlets or, you know, block them off or something. Please don't ruin this spot. I'm seriously, I'm letting you guys in on like, you know, a real secret of mine. So don't be idiots. But yeah, I think we'll close out the video here. I hope that was at least a little bit interesting. I hope that it was helpful. I feel like both of these spots kind of, you know, they have their own pros and cons, so it's up to you to decide which loitering spot best suits your particular loitering needs. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, check out my Patreon. I do monthly videos where I get drunk and I terrorize the city at night. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.